Hey guys, it's Dylan. So today we're going to walk through the major crypto news headlines, and then at the end of the episode I have a quick educational piece for you. So getting right into it, as you can see, the market was down today, but in the last few hours it has actually recovered. Bitcoin fell as low as about $31,000, but has since recovered and is currently sitting at about 33,500. So I'll probably keep saying it, but personally, not financial advice, but I think that the crypto economy is going to move sideways for at least a few weeks, if not a few months. I personally already have all of my liquid capital that I want to have invested at these prices, so I'm basically on the sidelines just waiting at this point. If Bitcoin breaks below 30K and does hit that 20,000 mark, which many people seem to think if it crosses under 30K, that's a very real possibility. At that point, I would definitely be interested in adding more, but we'll see what happens. But some very good news for Bitcoin. The Taproot activation is almost live, and as you can see, Taproot will lock in with a current signaling ratio, which has been 98.17%. In case you're not familiar, Bitcoin Taproot is basically just an upgrade to the Bitcoin network that's going to make it more efficient and give it a lot more privacy. But if you want to learn all of those details, I will link the episode below with the full deep dive on this topic. So if the 90% threshold is met during this 2-week period of miners signaling with these green blocks that they're ready for this upgrade, then in the next few weeks we could see this actually in play, and hopefully it'll lower the Bitcoin fees, which really aren't that much of a problem right now because volume overall has been down, but obviously it's a good upgrade going forward. Now, this Reddit post, the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, said the satellite infrastructure will be built so that Salvadorans in rural areas can connect to the internet in the Bitcoin network in places where the connectivity is poor. But I'm bringing this up not just because of El Salvador. As I mentioned yesterday, it's a smaller country, it's not moving the needle for the Bitcoin market, but when it comes to Starlink and Tesla and renewable energy powering Bitcoin mining and the future of currency and digital currency and stores of value and technology and decentralized finance, it all makes way too much sense for Elon to be all the way in. I'm telling you, it's not going to be this year. It probably won't be next year, but whether it's 2025 or 2030, there's going to be something with renewable energy, Bitcoin mining, Starlink internet, giving access to a global banking system in places that haven't even had internet access. It's all, like I said, just way too perfect to not come to fruition. It's just gonna take some time. Kevin OLeary was interviewed this past weekend at the Bitcoin conference in Miami, and he had some quotes saying, "I don't care if it goes down $20,000 or up $20,000. I'm not selling it. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. I'm in it for the long run." But in case you're not familiar, Kevin has flip-flopped many times this decade on his stance with crypto. He was bearish, then he was bullish and bearish, and now he's back to being bullish. So obviously he's going to make positive comments when he has a financial incentive. He has about 3% of his portfolio in crypto at the moment. He also said, "I don't really care who tweets what regarding Elon. I've made a binary decision to own Bitcoin. Now I have to decide what allocation, and I've decided now 3%. What happens after that? I don't care. And if it's going to be volatile because of Elon's tweets or somebody else's, go ahead." But I wanted to share this because unless you're a trader, I think this is a great strategy. You just have to have conviction in and of yourself that you want to own Bitcoin or whatever other digital asset it may be, no matter what any billionaire or famous person says. You alone need to understand the blockchain. You need to understand the use cases. You need to understand the problems that it is solving and why we're having all this sideways movement, why there's so much negativity. You have to come to that conclusion and have that conviction no matter what anybody else says, or else anytime somebody tweets, you're going to be emotionally charged, and ultimately your quality of life is not going to be that good. And in yesterday's video, we talked about a major Bitcoin catalyst being the SEC approving a Bitcoin ETF, to which OLeary said he thinks it's going to be a while, maybe a couple more years before the regulator allows ETFs here. Just one man's opinion. But the Canadian-born businessman OLeary outlined that his home nation, Canada, has already approved a few exchange-traded funds tracking the performance of Bitcoin. So Canada has already approved some, which means the United States most likely will. It's not a matter of if, but when. And a quick reminder, guys, think of all of the stuff that has been going on in the crypto space over the past few weeks. You have the Elon and the sustainability and the energy concerns. You have Trump coming out and making statements. You have the China regulatory situation and the miners potentially being banned and having to leave. You have the textbook Wyckoff manipulation, and you have all kinds of uncertainty around regulations all at the same time. I'm just telling you right now, this market is 100% being manipulated. It's not a reason to panic, at least not in the long term. In the short term, it's gonna have all kinds of price swings. It's gonna be very uncertain for a long time, but that's why I say you need to have the conviction in the underlying technology, separate yourself from the price swings, and learn about blockchain and why it's so important. And real quick, by the way, if you're not familiar with the Wyckoff manipulation, go watch this video immediately after this video. I give you permission to leave my channel, but here's a quick excerpt.
Time for us to wisen up and understand what Richard Wyckoff was trying to educate the public back in the 1920s about how these interests move the market and what they're actually doing. So let's go through this 2020 bull run. I mean, you can see here these two graphs, you know, everything from, you know, this first move, the PSY to the BC up to the UTAD, and how it correlates exactly with this schematic of Wyckoff's distribution.
It's pretty wild stuff. Like I said, go watch it immediately if you haven't seen it. So this article right here, I only want to point out one thing, but basically the IRS is trying to get more power to obtain information, KYC information from crypto exchanges about certain users. The IRS is essentially complaining that they don't have enough power. They're getting a lot of pushback, so they're asking Congress to basically give them more power. The IRS seeks information about US taxpayers who conducted at least the equivalent of $20,000 in transactions in crypto during the years 2016 to 2020 on the exchanges Circle, Poloniex, and Kraken. And basically what they're warning or saying is that the IRS will seize crypto and sell it to satisfy tax collection if the taxpayers fail to meet their tax obligations, which ultimately wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It could be a lot worse punishment than that if you avoid your taxes. Basically, they're saying they're just gonna take them and then pay your taxes for you. So we'll see how this plays out. Keep an eye on it. But getting to the education piece. So the Lightning Network, real quick, is just a layer 2. It's basically built on top of the foundational layer 1 Bitcoin network that is meant for fast micro payments. It's supposed to be way more efficient than the regular Bitcoin blockchain. You can open up these channels, make payments, basically as many as you want, and then later those transactions can be compressed and settled on the foundational blockchain layer. But here's a video in real life of somebody actually using an app to make a Lightning payment at a merchant. So it's just an app on your phone. You pull up a QR scanner, you scan the code, and then you basically hit send, and you make the payment, and it's instant. It's basically free. And Strike is the biggest app at the moment that is essentially allowing these Lightning payments. So this is Jack Mallers, the CEO of Zap and the company that has created Strike. This app is doing amazing, revolutionary work. And like I said, this kid is only 24, but he has really impressed me. But listen to how he explains the Strike network. This was very helpful for me.
You can think of the Satoshis in our infrastructure. So we have infrastructure spreading across the globe. We've got different sets in the UK, different in the EU, Central America. We've got, depending on the currencies or the regulations or the policies, they're just physical Bitcoin in Lightning pieces spread all over the globe labeled as Strike. And you can think of these little Satoshis that we're sending around as soldiers. I'm like, I want to send $1,000 to Peter. And a group of Satoshis takes that. So my $1,000 gets converted into these little batch of soldiers that are Satoshis on the network. And they run over to the UK in less than a second at no cost. And they say, hello, I'm here to carry out a task for Mr. Jack Mallers. We need British pounds for Peter McCormick, and we need them now. Well, thankfully, Bitcoin has liquidity in the British pound. When? Oh, 24/7, 365. There is no market close at any time. No problem. And they swap themselves into British pounds and they enter right into your pocket. And then you may need to send them to El Salvador and they'll run over to Central America and do the same thing. And El Salvador may need them in Australia. Now, what's actually happening is we're moving physical value that has the liquidity profile that any asset in the world would ever need. And they're just running around the world and escrowing value in real time. And the fact that I'm using dollars and you're using pounds is purely convenience. But convenience is important, and we're able to make real-time and instant remittance payments at no cost. That is an absolute, and here's another thing is like, it doesn't matter the size of the payment. I can send you $1, it'll get to the UK in real time at no cost. There's no minimums. I could send you $1. I could send you $1 million and we'll get the same output. There's no variable cost to achieve any of this. And it's honestly remarkable.
Yes, it is. So then the first question people have is, well, how are they making money? Is this a scam? It's a great question, but basically Strike has multiple revenue models. And real quick, these are my kind of chicken scratch notes that I take when I watch like YouTube videos and podcasts. I'm actually just gonna copy and paste this in the pinned comment below if you guys wanna go read through it, because I'm not gonna cover everything. But the main way that, to my knowledge, that Strike makes money is from the merchant. So the merchant actually pays Strike to offer the service to basically bring more business to the merchants, allowing faster and more options for payments. The second way is that Strike now has a card in partnership with Visa, so they're making money from that Visa Strike card. But Strike is also an over-the-counter desk, meaning they trade their own flow like a trader would, similar to what Robinhood does, live trade consumer retail flow. So they take an order book and then they trade that essentially. That's a topic for another video. You don't need to really understand that. And they have other industries like remittances, where definitely read that part in the pinned comment because that's a huge market. But the point here is that they have multiple ways to make money, and a lot of those ways are actually proprietary to the business, because allowing these instant global transactions for zero fees that's what's revolutionary. And having other revenue models where they don't have to charge the consumer a fee to do this, using the Bitcoin foundational layer and the Lightning Network, it's just actually incredible. I love it. I think it's going to change the world. It already is. So simply put, Strike is the app, the user interface that allows people to basically onboard their fiat currency to use the Lightning Network, so they don't actually have to use like code. It's just anybody can download the app and then use the Lightning Network. That's what Strike does. But that's all for today. Please take a second to like this video if it was helpful at all. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you have a great night, and I will see you guys in the next one.